On the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved.
Level at the break, but they've played it over towards the left-hand side here, and the overlapping Montano from left back. He's inside the penalty area here, Montano. He's done well, tries to cross, blocked though, and it's going to be picked up by Barry McKay here towards the left side of the penalty area. He's immediately helped out by May, and they found Montano once more. Again, his cross is blocked, and it is going to be a corner though. It was Diaz who tried to get across to prevent the corner. Thought he was fouled. Just about stayed onside there. Montano. They were claiming for the offside. They also claiming for the foul because Bobby Diaz ended up in a heap on the floor. Smith here takes the corner from the left side. They've worked it nicely, and it's going to be chipped in towards the back post. Thompson there looked like he was going to be first to it, and he was going to be first to it. until he was fouled. And it's a free kick to Kilmarnock on the edge of the penalty area. It's Montano with the foul. It's Kilmarnock try and play forward on the right hand side. Ball over hit though, and Jerome Pryor will come out to the edge of his 18-yard box and collect that one. And we were talking about hitting the end of the 45, and as we did, the referee blew for half time. No need for added time at the end of this first half, according to referee Ryan Lee, and we will go in at half time with Livingston trailing Kilmarnock. Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2. The home side led through Stevie May, but goals from Joe Hugel and Nicky Klashenko have given the away side the advantage at half time. We'll be back with second half coverage shortly. At half-time, it's the away side Kilmarnock have the lead. At half-time, it's the away side Kilmarnock who have the lead over Livingston by 2-1, but it was Livingston who took the lead in the field. At half-time, it's the away side Kilmarnock that have the lead. 2-1, they have the advantage over Livingston in this game, but it was the home side that took the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May. Level things up then through Jordan. Half-time, it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2. The home side did take the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May. A lovely finish into the bottom right-hand corner after he was found by McKay. 5 minutes later, Joe Hugel levelled things up for the away side. Thompson with a lovely ball in from the left-hand side, and from close range, Hugel managed to finish close at home. And then on 34 minutes, Nicky Klashenko with the counter-attack finish. He broke in free inside the penalty area and finished into the far corner after he was found by Kilty. At half-time then, it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2. At half-time, Livingston... At half-time, Kilmarnock have the lead over Livingston, who did take the lead early in the game. At half-time, it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time, it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time, it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. At half-time it's Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, but the home side did have the lead on 19 minutes through Stevie May, who finished into the bottom corner after being found by McKay. They levelled things up though, Kilmarnock, just 5 minutes later. Joe Hugel finishing from close range after a cross from Thompson from the left-hand side. And then Klashenko worked his magic inside the box on the counter-attack for Kilmarnock to fire into the far corner to give the away side the lead at half-time. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. We'll leave that there, because we are ready to get back underway in this second period. Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2 at half-time. The league's basement side taking the lead after a bright start, but Kilmarnock have fought back to have the advantage at the break. Get us underway at the start of this second period, as they move the ball over to the left-hand side, and Thompson, who's the architect of that first goal, finding Hugel in the penalty area. Both left fullbacks have overlapped well in the game so far. Substitution at half-time for Kilmarnock has seen showing Larson off and Lyons on. Brad Lyons, the Northern Irishman, into the fray. As Kilmarnock trying to attack early, but some good defending on the edge of the area there from Livingston. Now get the ball over towards the left-hand side, and McKay, who will now trying to drive inwards here. McKay's done well, he's made a good 30 yards. Referee has a look as he goes down and eventually does give him the foul. Did well there, Barry McKay, driving forward. Foul did come in the end. Stanger just trying to get back in position.
With Minter, good to see who's the quicker of the two, because they're very, very speedy. Could be a decent match. But De Kuyper first started on this left-hand side. I just come across though to take the throw in.
Yep, and the ball goes out. De Kuyper was Brighton's best player last week against Wolves, at least according to the ratings on Stockaway he was. I don't know, no reason to disbelieve them. But playing a little bit further up the field, I think it's interesting though. Minter's on the left-hand side, so too then De Kuyper, where's Karioglu. He can play on either flank, so we'll have to try and work out who's doing what to who. De Kuyper could just be playing left back today.
Yeah, it's going to be very fluid, isn't it, for Brighton, as it was when the two met at the Amex, a 3-0 victory for Albion Hertzler's side, and they really sort of walked all over Leeds that day. I think it probably could have been more than that.
Yeah, they're a good team, aren't they? And I think we're past the point of being surprised by how good they are. Baleba there just jumps out of the pitch. He made as if he was getting a shove in the back, but our referee today was not particularly interested in that full-on shout. there was not much of a shove really, or not much of anything from Dan James. Michael Oliver is our referee today. Hopefully we won't see too much of him. We're going to see a long throw now from Ethan Ampadu. Did just long throw, gets a little nod away, spooned back by Stack. Next header won by Bornau. It's 2 players down, the referee is giving a free kick. And then a great big beach ball comes on. There's bound to be that spirit of carnival for the Leeds fans. This could have been a really difficult season, but sorted out quite a long time ago. And I think at the halfway stage of the Man City game, where they were getting beaten up and then they came back with a different formation, almost from that point, this season has turned around for Leeds, where they've looked comfortable, really. Yeah,
it certainly has. I mean, there's been ups and downs, and there's been moments where after a decent run of form, you might have said, Leeds are probably going to be safe, and then they drop points a few games in a row, and you think, actually, maybe they're being dragged back into it. It has been a weird season, hasn't it, in terms of you've had the 2 at the top, which have run away, and then you've got 4, 5, even 6 teams fighting for the remaining Champions League places, and a load underneath fighting for the rest.
Minter gets the better of Dan James's shot, comes in, but it comes off Rodon's head. Again, I think maybe Dan James slipped there, but now Leeds try to get forward with the Stack. A little flick on from Aronson. I don't know which part of the body that was stopped by, but it was a good stop. And again, that may have been Veltman who coming across there. Veltman, who at the moment seems to be playing right back with Karagioglu ahead of him, and it's Minter and De Kuip on this left-hand side. Minter again, a chance to run at Dan James, takes him to the byline. James does really well this time and stops him in his tracks. But I think that for me is the key matchup today. Down that flank is particularly for Brighton, where they're most likely to attack.
Yeah, it might just push Leeds back into a flat 5, really, John. At least a flat 4 if Dan James has to come in at right back. We'll see how that affects maybe James Justin's position. Going forward, we know that Leeds will push Rodon forward on one side, maybe not so much on the other, with the fact that Bornau is right-footed, as is Beal, as is Rodon, as is James Justin as well, and Dan James. So they might not have much action down that left.
Absolutely. Anyway, a long ball comes in. Darlow thinks about coming, he doesn't, and then Rodon forced to head away. Minter ball to the far post, headed just to the edge of the area from Karagioglu. Then a shot comes in. It's on target. Boy, it was an easy save for Darlow. Brighton are doing what Brighton do. They've already got Leeds pushed back into their own half. The centre backs, they start forming their line almost over the halfway line, and it really condenses play. The genius at that, I think. It's up to Leeds. Ideally, what you would do if you're playing against that sort of high line is try and dribble your way through from deep. So if you've got really quick players, rather than chipping a long ball, chipping it offside, is somebody to run through the gap with the ball. Quite whether Leeds can do that is another story. I guess Aronson can travel with the ball quite well, but here's Justin, he's got round the back, bit ball watching from Veltman. Ball into the box, just slightly in behind his man. Was there a little foul there on Dominic Calvert-Lewin? I don't think so, but that was a great opportunity, one that wasn't taken.
Yeah, could he have had a shot there, James Justin, John? He's made a really good run down that left-hand side, and the touch creates the opportunity as well. Just gets in behind the full-back Karagioglu and times it really well and touches it away from the defenders. I just thought just there on the edge of the area, he could have just opened up with his right, and it would have to be a decent strike to beat a couple of covering defenders and the goalkeeper. It is a corner.
It is a corner. They've got plenty of height about them. So anyway, the ball comes in through the box. Not a great header away. And then the header back in, but it's thumped to clear out, and Aka chases after it, not going to get it. The ball, in fact, the ball bounces in, a bit of breeze, stiff breeze, keeping it in on the far side. Ball back to Darlow, and then a raking long ball out, but this time Aronson can't keep that ball in. It's a bad idea from Darlow, a bad ball really, maybe the wind took it or not. But, well, anyway, that was Leeds' first breakout, wasn't it? Justin round the back. I wonder if he had his time again, whether he would have shot.
Yeah, potentially so. A first moment for Leeds against the Brighton side, which have largely dominated possession really in the opening stages. As you say, Brighton, I think, just settled the better. They're so well drilled, keep the ball well, they push you back. They can play on the counter as well, and Leeds will be certainly wary of that.
Yeah, elsewhere Brentford have gone a goal down to Crystal Palace. I keep wanting to write Palace off and say, well, they'll only be interested in European finalists, that and the other. You can't stop them. They play well when they shouldn't do. Anyway, seemingly they're a goal to the good and doing well today. Here come Leeds again, Stack at the edge of the area. Tries to flick it out with his feet. It's a good challenge from Karioglu on the side he prefers now. Ball just too far from Dan James. Just chipping it to the far post, but he couldn't quite find the ball he wanted. Yeah, both teams have had their little moments so far today. Like I said, I always think I thought, well, Veltman's in today playing right back, and I'd not worked out that Karioglu would be in that position. But Karioglu now has been caught out a couple of times by Justin, just ball watching. That ball was a bit too deep, but Karioglu had forgotten that he was marking a man there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, he's played fullback at either end, hasn't he, Karioglu? But we are more used to seeing him at left back, playing on that right hand side. And as you say, Justin's just getting in behind him there. Maybe it's just that he's not used to playing against wing backs. Not as many teams in the Premier League play with 5 now. They tend to go with 4, but in that build-up it was brilliant from Aronson. He got the initial touch to Calvert-Lewin and then picked it back up on the edge of the area as well, so he started well.
Yep, I thought Ethan Ampadu was Leeds' best player last week. There's something about giving him the captaincy at Leeds and the chance that he's taken, you know, from being one of those bit part players at Chelsea to being somebody sort of beloved. I think has had a big effect on his psyche and how he feels. And he's in love with Leeds, it would seem. Anyway, here's Dan James now, chance for a strike, and his shot comes in. Did he take a deflection? He's got one hand in the air. Anyway, looks maybe like they're lining up for a corner. Dan James would love to finish this season strongly. You know, he's flirted with the potential of sort of World Cup and all that for Wales, and then he gets injured again. His career's been blighted by injuries. Must have taken the deflection that because it is a corner, and Anton Stack will take it. So they've got a few set-piece goals this season. They've been strong in the division, in the top 10 if you like, but anyway, that was fairly well dealt with by the rear guard. Then Tanaka tries to get the ball away to James. He can't do it now. Minter is on the run. Ethan Ampadu tries to get back with him. Minter looks for the early ball. It comes off the toe end of Ampadu now for a corner. I'm a massive fan of Yankuba Minter. I prefer when he's on the right hand side, but he's got a load going for him. He found himself out of the team at the midway point of the season, which I didn't really understand, but he's looking sharp today.
Yeah, I thought he could have done it better there, a little bit more confidence. Maybe he would have gone at the defender, John, because Ampadu was covering, but he's nowhere near matching Minter for speed, and he tries to whip that ball into an attacker which is between 2 centre-halves. The ball would have had to have been perfect. I thought he maybe could have taken a touch and then drilled it towards the edge of the area, or just had a run at his defender and see what happened, but they've got themselves a corner.
Yeah, I wonder whether he prefers being on that right and cutting in, and he's got more confidence to travel with the ball like that than the other way round. But anyway, there is a corner, ball steepled to the far post, headed back in by Van Heck, and then a shot comes in from Veltman. It's blocked. Well, that could easily have been goal number 1. They're really good at set piece. The ball to the far post was good. They got Veltman in. He just found his shot blocked.
Yeah, it's a good ball in, isn't it, towards that back post from Pascal Gross, and it's a really loaded back post as well. Plenty of bodies in both yellow and in white shirts. Darlow does well just to get a hand out. Veltman swings a left boot at it, but you're looking at maybe 7 or 8 players in front of you to try and get it passed into the back of the net there, so you didn't really think that Veltman was going to hit the back of the net.
No, it either finds the gap or it doesn't, but more likely found one of them blockers. Lewis Dunk did that thing, only Gaza could do that, you know, on a regular basis, where you turn the ball away from yourself, try and kick it and then look Anana. He used to do it for fun. I don't think there was any fun involved in what Dunk was doing there. As James is on the ball over the halfway line, he plays it behind Anton Stack. He chips it forward though, he's done well, and then Aronson again, he just, so much energy to pick up the bits and pieces. Yeah, he does such a good job with that. I'm not sure he ever entirely lasts 90 minutes, but they got the ball caught in his feet. He needed to do better, and now it's an opportunity. That was Danny Welbeck nicking the ball off him now, with Karioglu going forward on the right hand side. Can he find a good ball? answer.
Sorry?
I said, can he find a good ball?
No, he can't. Sorry, John.
I'm just looking at you and thinking, are you going to...
I was just thinking about that ball over from Danny Welbeck, and I was just thinking about how good of a season it's been for him. 35 years of age now, and still might even go to the World Cup. I mean, you never know, do you? There's injuries from other players or anything like that, but yeah, he's on 13, as is Calvert-Lewin actually.
I mean, out of the two, what do you think if you had to select one of the two?
Very different players, aren't they? Calvert-Lewin's got that sort of target man about him. Danny Welbeck's never really been a clinical finisher, but he does get involved in the build-up play. I think Ollie Watkins is the better, of course. If you put those three into a question, it's whether he's going to be fit, and of course he's got an extra game to play now, hasn't he, as well, with the Europa League final.
Yeah, I'm doing that on Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Freiburg against Aston Villa. I think Watkins has absolutely hit his straps. But how many strikers in England are not all over the place? So maybe it's Kane, Watkins, and somebody else out of these. Maybe out of these two. I don't know. There's probably someone we forgot. Solanke. Anyway, right. The long ball for Leeds doesn't find Calvert-Lewin, but it's headed out. Again, Lewis Dunk ever dependable. I don't suppose Lewis Dunk's in the argument either. Players like him and Dan Burn seem to be throwbacks, don't they? Despite the fact that they come back every year and do a good job, don't they? But anyway, England will probably got a few in there. But anyway, that's for later. As Ampadu now is going to take his long throw. In it comes into the danger area, flicks off Bono, and then eventually is cleared away. Ball breaks back for Leeds. Ampadu has got hold of it. Little ball back on his inside to find Anton Stack. Chance for a ball. Good ball to far post. Headed up in the air. Field didn't know where it had gone. And then Karagioglu tried to run the ball out. He's had a poor start to the game. Ferdy Karagioglu, I really rate him. But at the moment, he looks rusty. So the ball went left-hand side. Tanaka decides to put an early ball in. It wasn't the worst. But in the end, it's comfortably into the hands of Bart Verbruggen.
Well, the game's just balanced out a little bit more now. It's a good start from Brighton. They just seem to have sort of petered off, and it's Leeds who have just settled in the last sort of 10 minutes. It's a good ball in that, I think, from Stack. And Yakabil does what really you can only really do in that situation, John. That's head it back across, but he doesn't quite get the execution right. If he does, there's 2 or 3 in white waiting for it to come back across the face of goal. Leeds did well to sort of keep that momentum going and swing it back in. You just need a little bit more in the final third, and likewise Brighton could do as well. I mean, we saw that burst down the left with Minter where I said I thought he should have dribbled with it. Both sides just maybe lacking a little bit of impetus in the final third.
Just looking at the header from Beale, it hits the arm of the defender, and that's why Beale didn't know where the ball had gone. I mean, his arm was out. There's an offside there. Calvert-Lewin had just strayed. I think what Leeds are doing here, we just saw from the goal kick for Verbruggen, they just didn't let him play out. Brighton want to play out from the back. They're usually good at that. Van Ecke will see more of the ball than anybody else, and he plays like a quarterback, doesn't he? And they're so accomplished at that. But if Leeds can provide a little bit of energy and stop them doing that, then I think they go a long way to rebalancing the fact that Brighton want to play from the halfway line forward. But as I say that, they easily play out. And here they are down the right-hand side. Veltman then has to step over the ball. Yeah, they're really missing Mitoma, aren't they? They're missing that man on the right who's going to take a man on. Veltman just makes ground and then retreats. And then the ball goes backwards with Van Ecke. And again, back to Veltman. And again, he's forced to go back to his keeper. Game just taking a little bit of a lull right now. There are plenty of games going on in the Premier League, and of course we have the big Duke out next Sunday, where traditionally we all come in to do the game and then go for a beer, don't we? So we're all looking forward to that. But there are 1 or 2 issues that will need to be resolved. Man United beat Forest today, by the way, 3-2. Aided and abetted by some iffy decisions, I'd have to say. Brentford 0, Palace 1 is the only game that's got a score on it. No goals, Everton, Sunderland or Wolves. Fulham No goals for us, and not many opportunities either, Tom. It's been a bit cagey, really.
No, Leeds have not really had a chance, and you'd say the best Brighton one was that effort from Baleba, right left-hand side of the box, sorry, with his right boot. It was comfortably saved. I wouldn't say it's been a bit of a chess match so far, but there is a little bit of a feeling out process, you feel, particularly from the Leeds side, as to how they can make the most of a few opportunities that they've had. And the shot comes in there from the visitors.
Yeah, I think it was Karaoglu. He was on target, but it was a comfortable save, wasn't it? And then Karaoglu, another mistake from him. He miscontrolled the ball, and then it was played off him. Come on, Ferdy, you're better than that. But taking a look at the shot that's just come in. In fact, it was a Pascal Gross effort. He chops at it with his left boot. Wasn't the worst thing you're going to see. Too close to Darlow, really.
Yeah, it moved a bit weirdly though, didn't it? Just have a look at the replay there. Darlow sort of dives to his left. I think he's expecting it to go into the corner. He actually has to move his arms back from where they sort of the direction from where they came to sort of bat it away. It looked rather unconventional from Carl Darlow. He does that have that in his locker a little bit. He's not sort of the most traditional sort of goalkeeper in terms of the way that he keeps the ball out the back of the net. But well, at least it's another shot on target for us, John.
Yeah, absolutely. I think out the battle of these two keepers for Bruggen, for me, will win hands down. I do believe that Leeds will stiffen up the position in the summer. I don't think they're particularly enamoured with either of their goalkeepers that much.
Well, they've got a lot of sorting out to do if that's the case, haven't they? You think if they're going to bring one in, that at least have to get rid of one, maybe even two. Just seen a replay there, actually. I thought at first it was just a coming together between Calvert-Lewin and Dunk, which a free kick was given for in favour of the Brighton man, but he just lands on him there, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Just trod on sort of just underneath the neck there from Dunk. I think he's going to be okay there. Yeah,
well, play recommences. We're just looking at the stats. Brighton slightly better XG, 0.22 to the 0.05 of Leeds. They've had more of the ball and they've done a little bit better with it, but there's not much in it really. Leeds have been again pushed back. Jorginho Ruta out warming up, maybe getting a good hand, maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, ball comes across. That's a decent header from Karaoglu back across. That just shows you how far advanced they are. The game now, all concertinaed in just at the edge of the area as Tanaka then will just fly hack it to clear. Banaka should be able to deal with this. Just nods it back down into the deck. And then finds his keeper, who is an easy ball out there. I don't know where they all are, but the keeper picks it up. And that's what Leeds can't afford to do. You know, they've conceded ground there for no good reason. There was a semi-press, and then they're back under pressure again. I'm not sure, particularly, that when a team are going to on the road, they've got one striker, that Leeds need three centre-backs to deal with them. And then there's an imbalance in midfield when they do that. But Brighton are getting on the front foot. Oftentimes I feel as well that Daniel Farke doesn't know when his team's getting bested. They can change their back four whenever they want, but sometimes it would be, oh well, we didn't play well that half, then he reverts, and sometimes the damage is done in the meantime. I know you can't keep chopping and changing through your ideas. Maybe it's up to his captain Ethan Ampadu to work out and talk to the boys as the game's going on. What do you think, lads? Are we 4 or 5 today? And then they can change.
Yeah, I think he likes to see it, Daniel Farke, as what are his side doing or not doing when they're in possession. He so often doesn't make decisions on the opposite, does he? He doesn't make decisions based on how the other team are doing or how his team are defending, which of course is counterintuitive. If you concede, then it doesn't matter how well you're doing on the ball in possession because you're behind. I mean, they're not behind, and that's obviously the most important thing. But you're right, there's a lack of energy in midfield. Brighton finding it really easy to keep the ball, particularly in the sort of middle third, and even building into that final third as well, because there's, as you say, an imbalance, but also maybe it is a little bit more on the beach from Leeds United than we expected today.
The ball through, but surely the flag would go up. I felt that Karaoglu was offside there, and he was by a mile, and then the flag eventually goes up. Anyway, we are halfway through this first half. You're listening to Independent Off-Tube Studio Commentary. It is Leeds United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. It's going to be Tom now to take us through to half-time.
Cheers, John. Yeah,
he was on, by the way.
He was on, yeah, he was indeed, Karaoglu. I mean, nothing came of it anyway, fortunately for the linesman more than most, I think. But yeah, 24 minutes gone, still goalless at Ellen Road.
Well, that's why they don't put the flag up immediately, because if the ball hits Karagioglu on the back, but if it goes into his path and he's through and scores, you know, is he going to put the flag up then? He probably would, but it would have been a goal. So there we go.
Michael Oliver's allowed play to resume. Man in the middle. Two very informed sides. Leeds over the last 5 games have seen only Manchester City and Bournemouth pick up more points than them. Brighton have a similar record over the last 10. Only the top 2 in the Premier League have won more points than they have. Brighton searching for a second ever campaign in Europe. They finished 6th in 2023. Actually topped their Europa League group. Were eliminated by Roma in the round of 16. Leeds in possession inside Brighton territory now. On the left-hand side is Tanaka. John mentioned the absence of Kairo Mitoma for Brighton this afternoon. Well, he would have been, as he always is, a mainstay in the Japan squad ahead of the World Cup this summer, but that squad has now been named, and unfortunately Mitoma is not in it due to that injury. Tanaka is, though. Here's Stack, left-hand side, ball into the area, past Calvert-Lewin, away though from Brighton, out for a Leeds throw on the far side. That gets a round of applause inside Ellen Road. We haven't had much to shout about just yet.
Yeah, I thought Tanaka's season was lit up by the internationals. He got a couple of games for Japan when he wasn't necessarily starting at Leeds, and it just showcased what he's good at, and it reminded you. And then, you know, he's back in the team, and he'd actually played well. He's not done that well today necessarily, but they're getting outgunned in midfield. Now, a chance for another long throw though for Ethan Ampadu.
Long throw, ball into the area then from the Leeds skip. It's a high one towards Verbruggen, who punches, drops on the edge for Dan James, who hits it into the ground. It's deflected away though for Brighton, who can bring it clear now with Gross down the left-hand side. It just shows too much of it to Biol. Takes a touch off the Slovenian international, out for a throw. Well, that could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Was it flying into the back of the net? Congested area. It's going in. I think it's in at the keeper where you're thinking he probably saves it, but it wasn't a bad effort. I like the fact he's hit it into the ground. Sometimes on the half volley it just gets lamped into the air, doesn't it? But I thought it was good checkers from Dan James there, who looks slightly less rusty than he did last time around. It's a foul in midfield, and the referee will give Leeds a free kick.
Yeah, Veltman it was, just tracking back, catches his man, he's gone down. Elsewhere, well, you probably could have predicted this one, John. I think two sides with nothing to play for. Wolves already relegated. Fulham, so often as Fulham do at this stage of the season, not really anything to play for. It's how high can you finish from them, and it's the host, the relegated side, who are in front. And so often in these situations, it's a young, exciting prospect that scores. It's Mateus Mane who has for Wolves this afternoon. Ball into the area from the Leeds free kick, away though by Hinshelwood, back into the danger zone by Dan James. It's just going to stay in on the far side with James Justin. He goes around the corner backwards to Aronson. Ampadu now to Stack.
I think when I think about Mane, I think he's a Premier League player. You know, he's very exciting. He's only young. Ball flicked in, and then there's a header from Biol, but it's going nowhere, looping up in the air. He's very similar to Gnonto, I think, in respects, Mane, but definitely got something going, and I think there'll be lots of clubs, you know, trying to grab hold of him. There's one that always happens to the team that goes down. It happened to Southampton, didn't it? And they let Fernandes go, and the kid who went to Everton, who doesn't seem to get a kick now, does he? I remember his name. Yeah, Tyler Dibbling. There's always those. And I guess that somebody as well, talking about teams going down, somebody's going to take Monger off Leicester City's hands. You would have thought he's just too good. He's still only about 17, isn't he?
Yeah, ball backwards to Verbruggen in the Brighton goal. It's Leeds 0, Brighton 0. 28 minutes gone. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio-based commentary. A lot of action at Ellen Road so far this afternoon. The sun is shining though. It's a lovely day in West Yorkshire by the looks of it. Ball forward from Verbruggen towards halfway, chested down by Ampadu. It's a couple of touches away from Jack Hinshelwood, and he goes down the line to Dan James. Can't bring it under his control first time. Tries to swing a ball in though, and it takes deflection from his marker in Veltman, and out for a Leeds corner on the right hand side. I think Brighton started the better, John, after 10 minutes. I know they've not had much action in front of goal, Leeds, but I think they've been roused by what looks like a very lively crowd, and they're probably just squeaking things.
Yeah, that's it. it's weird watching Brighton, but you know exactly what to expect from Brighton, but it's whether you can actually do something about it. And Leeds, they've had mixed results.
Ball into the area, looking at Calvert-Lewin away from Dunk, picked up on the right-hand side of the box. Gross and Veltman with a 1-2. See a neat from Brighton, but allowing pressure to commence on top of them. There's a man down there in Ampadu as he blocked the clearance out for a Brighton goal kick. Half an hour gone, still goalless, as it is at the Hill Dickinson between Everton and Sunderland.
What Leeds had done recently is proved that they're difficult to beat. There's only really Arsenal who a couple of times this season have completely beaten them hollow, haven't they? But other than that, they've been relatively competitive, which, you know, if you're not, you know, if you're at the races, if you're giving yourself a chance in virtually every game, then you're going to pick up points. Obviously, it's more important that you get 3, as well, Dan James very close to being released there, and then he's having a right old battle with De Kuiper. The ball eventually got out for a goal kick. Just a bit unlucky there, Dan James. The ball just wouldn't roll past him, would it, when he's trying to shield it out?
Yeah, just trying to win a free kick, and I think it's similar to Baleba earlier on. He's not going to get it because he's led the charge. He's gone in for that 50-50 and come off the worst of it, so it will just be a goal kick. But absolutely right. I mean, Leeds 14 coming into today, 1-10 drawn, 14 lost, 12. Can overtake Newcastle into 13th with a win today, unbeaten in 7 as well in the league, no loss since March the 3rd against Sunderland at home.
I think if they could leapfrog Newcastle with a victory and also get ahead of Palace on goal difference in the table, so it's funny. And then, you know, if they manage to beat West Ham at the end of the season, again they could be catapulted up to a ridiculous position of mid-table obscurity, which they would have snapped your hands off for at the start of the season.
Aronson, Stack, corner of the box on the right hand side, Road on with the overlapping run.
That's good defending.
Yeah, last touch just off the Welshman. It was good covering across there. Was it Dunk?
It was Dunk, and he just scraped it off Joe Rodon. Little flick ball forward, it was for Rodon, and then just a clever defending by Dunk, just toe ending it, scraped off Joe Rodon, getting a nosebleed. He does like to gallop forward though, doesn't he? You know, when he's playing on that right hand side, I often thought watching him last season, his distribution with the ball is not great, but he's pretty game, isn't he, Joe Rodon? I think he's another one who's had a good season. Minted's struggling. That'd be pretty devastating, I think, for Brighton, given that they're really lacking. I mean, he's been playing well. They're lacking punches at the side because it's Veltman or Kadioglu trying to steal ground rather than showing an ability to get round anybody. I think it would be a big blow for Brighton if Minter's not allowed to play. There's a free kick.
Yeah, the pace as well is the problem, isn't it? I mean, there's not many, both in the ranks for Brighton or in the Premier League, that have quite got the speed that Cuba Minter possesses. We'll see how he gets on with that little ailment. 32 and a half gone, Leeds 0, Brighton 0.
And then you're looking at the bench, aren't you? Solly March. Milner's played out wide. You know, Jorginho Ruta can play lots of different positions, really. They could bring another defender on, I guess, and then throw De Kuiper a bit further forward, something like that. I don't know.
Ball forward to Danny Welbeck, tries to flick it around the corner first time. Shows too much though to the Leeds defenders. They can't keep hold of the ball though as the Seagulls win it back on halfway. Here's Veltman towards his right for Hinchelwood, who's just dropped into midfield.
First time we mentioned him, you know, he proper ghost 9, isn't he? Hinchelwood, great in the air. Off times though, you just don't see him until he scores a goal or something.
He's been playing a slightly different position in recent weeks, just behind that striker. As you say, John, not often involved as Minter tries to get a ball into the area, but too close to Carl Darlow. Able to collect. Looks like Minter might have just run off whatever was bothering him. Moving pretty freely. Good ball in from Van Hecker towards Minter, but no one really up there. I mean, he's quick, isn't he? And that means sometimes, John, that his teammates aren't quick enough to keep up with him.
Yeah, that's it. But well, here come Leeds. Maybe an opportunity for Dan James, but poor ball in.
Ball into the area. Too close to Bart Verbruggen.
It does look rusty, doesn't he? I mean, he'd come back from injury. I'm not really. I guess that he's got a bit more of an engine or more defensive chops that gets him ahead of Gnonto. But otherwise, if you wanted a winger out of the two, somebody who was fitter and less ring rusty at this stage of the season, it would be Gnonto ahead of him, I think.
10 minutes to go before half-time. Leeds 0, Brighton 0. Listening to off-tube independent studio-based commentary. It just steps out of the back four. Leaves Brighton's formation a little bit lopsided, but they are still in possession. Back to Dunk, now to the feet of Hinchelwood, who's progressively more involved. Here's Van Hecker over halfway. 4 or 5 in front of him to pass the ball into the final third. Gross to Veltman.
Look how far Van Hecker's forward, and Dunk's happy for him to do that. He's such a good ball player. He's forced to go backwards there, nothing on, but he's like a midfielder, isn't he? And you know, he's just happy to step forward with the ball.
Right hand side now with Kadioglu. Should start for him in this game. The Turkish defender to Hinchelwood, across to Minter. Minter moves back in field away from the press of Anton Stack. They're hoping for more Germany caps, of course, in the next few months. Ball out towards the right-hand side for Veltman, who has a little run. Ball into the area. It's a dangerous one. It's away, though, from Jaka Biol. And it's out for a corner kick. And it's maybe 3 or 4 times we've seen that particular ball in, John, from that right-hand side into a dangerous area. But with 3 centre-halves, you feel that that's pretty meat and drink for Leeds United.
Yeah, but again, when I look at people chasing back, doing this, that, the other, but De Kuyper there was virtually by himself. The ring that we would have put around De Kuyper there when that move was going on down the right-hand side is massive. You know, he's in a sea of space. The ball gets to him and you think he's a chance to drive to the edge of the area. Nobody can stop him, get his shot away, do what he wants. Just not good enough, that.
Corner, which De Kuyper will take. Swings it in from that right-hand side towards the back post. The heads go up. It's a Brighton one who makes contact in Lewis Dunk, but maybe Joe Rodon was just a little bit too close for comfort. He couldn't quite get it on target over the bar and out for a Leeds goal kick.
Well, honestly, Tommy, he's left Joe Rodon for dead there. Eventually, I mean, he'd lost his marker, then he's just nipping ahead of Rodon and he just can't control it. He's a monster in the air, isn't he, Lewis Dunk? He's just phenomenal. Oftentimes, when I see a game, I think, oh, he's the man. Between him and Van Hecker, I think that, you know, they're probably the 2 strongest in the air. Rodon's really game. Calvert-Lewin is decent in the air, but those 2 centre-backs for me are absolutely monstrous.
A lot made, wasn't it, towards the start of the season about Leeds' recruitment and it, you know, looking towards that type of player, John, with you know, Bornau, Biol, 2 big centre-halves. Anton Stack brought in, he's huge, of course, as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And that has played its part, as you mentioned. You know, they've been pretty good at scoring from set pieces, but as we know, the amount of Leeds games that we've covered over the years, we know that the soft underbelly of Leeds United is conceding from set pieces, no matter how big their players are.
It is, but you know, when they went up under Bielsa, every time there was a corner or something, you know, the hands would be looking through their fingers. You know, I don't think that had been lost on the recruiting staff and everybody at Ellen Road, really, just saying, you know, I'd rather have a good big one than a good small one. I know you need a mix of players, but there's height about them that's not necessarily a huge concern. Sometimes they'll get bested, sometimes they'll be on top in that respect, but you know, they can compete. That's the thing.
38 minutes gone. Leeds 0, Brighton 0 at Ellen Road. Head up one there by Biol, looking for James on the right-hand side. Just takes a touch off De Kuyper. Now for a Leeds throw on the right. 15 yards into Brighton territory. Elsewhere still, Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. And it's still goalless between Everton and Sunderland at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Wolves still leading by a goal to 0 at Molineux at home against Fulham. In terms of the Premier League table, of course, as we mentioned before, a lot of teams still fighting with the remaining European places. Brighton at the moment still in 7th, thanks to, of course, Brentford being behind. They can creep up on Brighton. They wouldn't catch them today really, unless Leeds won and Brentford overcame that one-goal deficit at the moment. But he'll forward towards the final third, more of a shot than a pass.
Well, I'm sure it was a pass, but he just got underneath it and it floated. I think there's quite a stiff breeze, which is a weird one. Usually it would swirl around the stadium. It's enclosed on 4 sides, but I think it's quite a flat breeze as such today. Just looking at the corner flag, all just flying in one direction. But anyway, again, De Kuiper in a lot of space. He's able just to work away from Sk. And again, Brighton have absolutely dominated possession, haven't they, in this first half? They played like Brighton. They look like Brighton, even though they're in a yellow strip today. They just play their game, don't they? I think that's the thing. There's a style about them. You know, they've got a good manager. They know exactly what they're doing. It doesn't need to be a great roster, if you like. I think the way that they play just allows them to. They play in the opposition half a lot, and there's 1 or 2 key cogs who allow them to do that, the likes of Van Hecke. But I don't think you need to be a great team to play like they play. I just think their manager's a genius, to be honest with you.
5 minutes to go before half-time. Leeds 0, Brighton 0. Leeds have conceded just 1 goal before half-time in their previous 11 games in the Premier League. And at home as well, they've conceded 16 of their 21 home goals in the second half. Here come Leeds on the right-hand side with Dan James, byline, ball into the area towards the far post, takes a bounce, and then it's flicked away and out for a corner by Kadioglu. That was much more like it from Dan James.
Yeah, it was reasonable, that, wasn't it? And the decent ball in this time from him. You know, De Kuiper's a good player there, but James got his cross in. It bounced in the box, so you know it's a decent one, and then they had to deal with that. Just rode on there, just giving a tap at the back to Dan James, saying we appreciate that, well done, buddy, and all that, you know, good. They play like a team, Leeds. I think they do support each other. And now they've got a corner.
Sk takes it, ball in towards the front post, away though from Danny Welbeck, said his name. It's only a couple of times so far in this one. We're back over halfway now. Tanaka leaves it for Darlow. Darlow clears long. Back from whence it came on the far left-hand side as the heads go up. There's a slip there from Aronson that allows possession to be won back by Brighton. Here's Hinchelwood to Gross to Maxim De Kuiper. Brighton though halted in their threat as Leeds players are back in good numbers. There's been an equaliser in the game between Brentford and Crystal Palace. The hosts have got one back in that one. It's Dango Utara who scores just a couple of moments ago. Here's Minter down the left, going to have a run at Roden. Early ball into the area, blocked by Roden and out for a corner.
Again, we talked about the battles and we talked about Van Hecke and Dunk. You know, Leeds aren't small, but these guys are dominant in the air, so if they can deliver a good ball in, you never know. Camera lingers on both the guys, but yeah, Dunk, captain's armband on. He's another one, like Ampadu, you understand why these guys are captains. They play like that, you know, they bring something else to the party, and you know, they're both really good players. Just watching Ethan Ampadu marking Dunk, but I think that'll be a mismatch.
43 minutes on the clock. Brighton corner. It's going to be an in-swinger from this left-hand side. Gross towards the front post, away from Calvert-Lewin. It's going to drop for Kadioglu, who's a swing and a miss from Kadioglu, but he's managed to bring it under control. Second time of asking, ball into the area towards the far post. Has got too much on it. Dunk keeps it alive. Plays it back to Gross on the corner of the box. He has a shot towards goal. Brilliant save, and then over the bar from close distance from Van Hecke. I don't know how that stayed out of the back of the net there. You could see the swerve on that caused real problems for Carl Darlow. Just gets a hand to it. Brighton can't get the ball into the back of the net on the follow-up.
Wow. He gets so much action on the ball. We said that with his first shot. It moved a lot in the air. This one moved even more. It cuts right across it. And that means that Darlow then eventually, the ball going away from him, he starts, it's comfortable, and then he moves and it moves and it moves, and you think, blimey, that's going in. He was on the wrong foot and dived across. Good save in the end.
And then, as I say, Brighton couldn't get the ball in the back of the net on the follow-up, the header from very close distance from Van Hecke over the bar. Here come Brighton again. Hinshelwood towards the far side for Kadioglu. Chests it down for Pascal Gross. Gross tightly marked by Tanaka, has to turn away from the final third and retreat towards halfway for Joel Veltman. And a goal at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, by the way. The hosts have taken the lead. Merlin Roll on loan from Freiburg, who of course play Aston Villa in that Europa League final next week. He's got the goal. Out towards the right hand side goes Van Hecke. Veltman, low drilled ball towards the edge for Kadioglu. He waits for support and finds it now in Gross. Gross drops back onto his left, ball into the area, away from Bornau. Brighton, top of Leeds here, every which angle into the final 30 seconds of normal time as Dunk has it now just outside the centre circle. Belieber takes over, stacks tightly on him. Belieber though shrugs him off, tries to play it down the line, and he's dispossessed. Here's Anton Stack going the other way. Down the line on the right hand side for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's all on his own at the moment with Van Hecke to beat. Tries to chop in on his left. Support coming in now as he tries to play it in towards goal. It's a brilliant save from Bart Verbruggen. The ball was played across along the ground towards the right hand side, but it flicked up off a Brighton defender, which resulted in a wicked deflection towards goal, and that's two big saves from either end of the Ellen Road in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, the ball just pings off Dunk, and it's headed for the top corner. It's a brilliant save from Verbruggen when he least expects it. But anyway, and that was Leeds' first effort on target, albeit rather unwitting, because not a Leeds player touched the ball, did they?
Into the area from Stack, away though from Belieber at the front post, picked up by James to the corner taker once more. Stack out of his feet, all into the area, deflected, flicked on by Ampadu. Van Hecke away, he goes down, high boot from Jacobiel. That'll be a Brighton free kick, and as we approach the final 10 seconds or so of this first half, it's Leeds 0, Brighton 0. Listening to off-tube independent studio-based commentary. Real action towards the end of the first 45, John.
Yeah, but I was just about to say Leeds haven't had a shot on target, but Leeds haven't created anything that was on target, because that was a clearance that came off Dunk's chest, that the only thing that Bart Verbruggen needed to save. So they'll be disappointed at that. And again, I'd just go back to a back three, marking one man not good enough. Anyway, they're both going at the break. Nobody has managed to hit the back of the net, and we are goalless. It's half time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0, and the Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. Pascal Gross is the man who's had a couple of efforts, both on target. One moved a little bit, and Darlow was able to deal with it. The other one moved a lot, and Carl Darlow then had to spring to his left-hand side to tip it round the post. Leeds haven't had an effort on target, but there's been a good save by Bart Verbruggen, a clearance off Dunk's chest that forced him into the save. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest that was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Tellen Road. Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Pascal Gross with a couple of efforts on target. His first effort from the right hand side of the box moved a little bit. Darlow saved it comfortably. The second one from the inside left position moved a lot, and Darlow only just sprung to his left hand side to claw it round the post. For Leeds, they didn't have an effort on target, but they did see a clearance deflected off Dunk's chest. It was clawed out by Bart Verbruggen. It's our time at Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 0, Brighton 0. The Seagulls have been the better of the two teams. We saw Right, we're back for the second half. And they have kicked off, by the way. I felt that Leeds, with their three at the back, it just didn't work in that first half. They're marking one, or not marking one, because Welbeck was dropping deep and picking the ball up anyway, so they couldn't mark him. Brighton was bringing players from deep then. I pointed out at one point De Kuiper was in absolute, almost an acre of space. Karaoglu there takes an early blow from Bornau and goes down. I wonder about whether Daniel Farke, I think he's done a decent job. I think he's sort of got the team together. There is a team ethic there, and it's clear they look out for each other. But quite whether he's the sharpest tool in terms of tactics and the changes that you need to make during the game, I would debate he's not.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think, John. He's clearly got the best out of his players. We spoke before the game, didn't we, about how the recruitment was decent, but he's got the best out of a decent bunch, and he's got the best out of the players that were already there as well. But as you say, is he the right man to make those tactical tweaks to take Leeds to the next level? Not too sure. You'd maybe give him you would give him some more time, wouldn't you, because of the success that he's had. But I have to agree, I think 5 at the back's not really worked against this Brighton team. They've just seen too much of the ball. You have to take the context as well into things, don't you? Leeds, yes, they can finish a few positions higher than they were coming into today, but really they're safe, and I imagine the players and the fans as well at Ellen Road will just be feeling a sigh of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you know, I always think about if you want the gold standard, you think, well, what would Pep think about it? As Tanaka's a great ball across, and James rises for that, can't get there, and then Minter just hooves that one away. The gold standard for me is Pep because of this. Every single thing. There's not anything that escapes him. Not at any given point is anybody able to drop their standards. And you just know for a fact that every tiny little thing that his players do in the game, they do it wrong or they don't do it right, he's gonna talk to them about it. He's going to discuss it with them. You should have done this, and he'll be sort of angry or animated about it. And so their players know that they think about their game when they're playing it and what they need to do. Handball there from Ampadu. So that's why he's the gold standard for me. He's just attention to detail and never letting anybody off. And if he was watching Leeds, he's saying, "Oh, they were the end of the season." It's all right saying they're on the beach and all that. I never really necessarily believe that. But it only takes to a slight drop off, even half a percentage point at this level. I think you feel it as Minter now. A little break from him, a chance to run at James, puts the ball into the box. It's a poor one. Tanaka lets the ball roll across his body, and then he delivers a poor out ball. So again, it's picked up by Brighton. Karioglu sends it back on the inside, and Veltman just dabs it back to the quarterback, who is Jan-Paul Van Ecke. Great ball through the middle. A chance for Inchwood here. His shot comes in. It blazes over the top. Van Ecke's he can see it all in front of him. He's such a good player. Inchwood probably should have got a shot on target, but that's a good move.
Yeah, just found some space between the lines there. Inchwood, we mentioned earlier, so often not really involved in build-up, but can just pop up with a goal or with a moment in the final third, and found himself sort of between the defenders and the midfielders there, didn't he? Totally unmarked, gets his shot off. He felt rather rushed. I think that's because the defenders were closing in on him. But it was still a shot from Brighton, and still a question being asked of the Leeds back line.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Leeds, they haven't been able, out of their own merit, to conjure up a shot on target in this game. So arguably they've defended relatively well. They haven't conceded. Darla's made a couple of saves, particularly off Gross the first half. But it's they need to do a little bit better. And here, a good challenger comes in, just tickling the ball away. Ethan Ampadu again having a strong game, but they could do cloning him on a day like today. They need a bit more of that. Maybe somebody like Tanaka a little bit quiet today, thinking about what happened to Mitoma and. For Brighton, who picked up an injury last week and of course will miss the World Cup because of it, and there'll be one or two players just thinking a bit further forward perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's an element of that cliche again on the beach that we use so often. It's an element of that which we often forget, isn't it? It's not just that the team context is decided in that Leeds can't really do more than where they are now. In teams like that, but players as well, they don't want to get injured. They don't want to risk getting injured for the sake of an extra few million in the bank in terms of finishing 13th instead of 14th.
Yeah, everybody wants to go to the World Cup, don't they? Here come Brighton back across now. Danny Welbeck able to turn, and his shot is blocked off the line by Ethan Ampadu. They still haven't cleared their lines, and eventually Borno gets across. Thought that was going in. Brilliant from Ethan Ampadu. Carl Darlow was beaten as well. We see Minter do the little I'll prod it one way, goal the other. That never works out, and that's the first time. Even Pelly couldn't make that work. But I promise you, that's the first time I've seen that work. But what a good block from Ethan Ampadu before that.
Yeah, I mean, he must be fast meant to beat Dan James with that particular move. But you're absolutely right. It's flying, I think, in the top corner, John, and Ampadu's in the right place at the right time, as great players so often are, and great captains are as well. Just heads it pretty much off the line and away, and Leeds survive. Yeah,
absolutely. So Ethan Ampadu living up to his billing today. He's the captain, you can tell, as Bornau just gets caught a little bit there. He's not had much game time, in fairness to him, and he doesn't want to be playing on the left. But he did okay there. As again, Brighton on the run. Karioglu runs into a challenge of Justin. I don't think there was much in that personally. The two number 24s coming together. Referee's made a decision. Could have gone either way, that really, but I think Leeds have got it. So it is 0-0, 52 minutes on the clock. And yeah, Fabian Hertzler, I think has done a good job. They keep showing us the goal difference comparisons and things like that. I'm never one for those stats. What I do know out the stats we've seen today is that Leeds are not particularly good in terms of second half team. They've conceded more than they've scored.
Absolutely, John. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but 16 of the 21 goals that they've conceded at home this season have been in the second half. They've actually conceded just one goal before half time in the last 11 games as well. So a lot of their goals are being shipped in that second period, and likewise Brighton do really well at scoring in the second half as well. So it's one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to work that out, isn't it? Is it because Daniel Farke doesn't make as many changes? He tends to be very conservative in that respect. You know, if you bring in subs in, do you need to bring them in earlier to let them bed in to become better? If you just dropping players in last 5 or 10 minutes, they don't settle, and then you concede whatever. I don't know.
I think likewise it probably is that, and also that point stands for Brighton as well, doesn't it? They've got a pretty strong squad, maybe a couple of injuries at the minute, but you know, they've got a lot of decent replacements. They've scored 15 of their 22 goals that have been away from home. They've been in the second half of games, so it's bringing players off the bench to impact things. I think that's the difference.
Here Brighton come again. Minte played in. You've got Karioglu, Welbeck, and Inchwood in the area. Oh, and the ball spanners off Beale's foot there. He thought he was flying into net for a second, and he could tell. But again, how many bodies do Brighton have up here when they're on the attack? You know, and it's a numbers game. But there's as many attackers there as there are defenders.
Yeah, 6v6, isn't it? Not including Kyle Darlow. Ball into the air, and as you say, Beale, I think just wants to get something on it, but not too much. It was at that end in the first half, wasn't it, where Dunk saw the ball sort of deflected off him and caused a really good save, and it was the only thing that Verbruggen had to do in that first half.
Yeah, Leeds are losing here. I know it's 0-0, but I feel Leeds are losing, and now there's a corner kick to be taken. Real opportunity. De Kuiper then from the right hand side, left footed, it'd be Ian Swenger. Ball comes in, and did he come off Welbeck? Header at the near post. It might have come off Bornau, in which case they're going to do all that over again. I've a feeling here that Brighton are going to go on and win this game the way that it's gone.
Yeah, they started better in the second half, but they started better in the first and didn't actually create that many opportunities. Two big saves, weren't they, from Kyle Darlow? But Brighton never really looked like they were putting sort of Leeds to the sword.
Ball to far post again. They got that runner who nods it back in. It's just about being dealt with. And then the ball well dealt with by Baleba at the back. Early ball in again, headed away by Justin. Will break to the edge of the area. Pascal Gross, very clever. And he shows his cleverness there with a little flick over the top. And Karioglu yet again just fluffs his lines. I think he had a bit more time. Palace have taken the lead again. They just don't know, do they? They just don't know when to quit. I wonder for them whether it's if he's playing a second string or something at Palace, it's like, well, if you play well, you can get to the final. And who wouldn't want to go to the final in Leipzig? Here come Brighton again. They've got round the back. Inchwood's cutback is not good enough at all. He's a lot of time to get that ball right, and he doesn't. Maybe the corridor just closes down him a little bit. Brighton here, all over Leeds. Again, edge of the area. Veltman rolls the ball out to Gross. He's back where he belongs. I think his loan spell will turn into another permanent move back. I would take him in a breath if I was Brighton. And then ball released for Leeds. Calvert-Lewin a chance to run, and kept the ball in left hand side. There's nobody with him. Look how many yellow shirts had got back there. Aronson just the edge of the area, does well to recycle the ball. Then with the stack with the strike, and yet to trouble the goalkeeper of Bruggen. Watched it fly over.
Yeah, well, up the other end, I think Hinshelwood has to shoot, John. He's in such a good position to strike that ball across the face of goal. And as you say, he's got so long to pick the pass out. Don't think he needs to make the pass whatsoever. Just going to see a replay of it now. Yeah, he's in behind. I mean, it's a tight angle to score, but if you can get that on target, Dallo might not be able to parry it away in the way that he wants. It might just fall for Minter, who's steaming in. So I think he chose the wrong option there. And then up the other end, as you say, Calvert-Lewin doing some really strong running, but totally on his own. Aronson trying to make something work, and Sk's effort not good enough.
No, Leeds are getting outplayed today by Brighton. The only thing about that little last break for Hinshelwood is, for once, they didn't have the numbers forward, and when he puts the ball into the box, there's 4 defenders to Danny Welbeck. So, but that's why they want to be playing Brighton over the halfway line, which they are now with Van Ecke, forced to turn back on himself. But there's always an out ball, always somebody behind him. Usually Dunk, this time Gross. So they're a well-oiled machine, aren't they, Brighton? You know, you've got to respect how they go about their game. As Veltman ball into the middle, this time it's a poor one, and Leeds having to get the ball away to Stack over the halfway line. Rodon keeps going, ball flicked down the line, but it didn't reach him. And just looking at that Wharton goal for Palace.
Just seen his replay there, John. I didn't realise he had that in his locker. Somersault there from Adam Morton. Who knew? Well,
there you go. Yeah, he could be going to the World Cup, couldn't he, Wharton? There's one or two you'd think interesting. Aronson now, he's pulled up yet again. You know, he'd be thinking about World Cup. He's not. He doesn't necessarily start, does he, for Mauricio Pochettino? Leeds are about to make a couple of changes. If I were them, I'd be taking Bono off, and if Brendan Aronson's run his race, and also if he's feeling something there, just out of courtesy to Brendan Aronson, I would say, well, you want to go to World Cup, we don't want any sort of risks. He's feeling that left knee. He doesn't look happy, does he? But I think that could be the end of him. And
yeah.
they need to go back 4.
Yeah, sorry, John. I was just going to say, I don't really know where that's actually come from, because he's not really had it coming together. I thought maybe it could have just been chasing down the ball. I mean, he's so often running out of possession, isn't he, Brendan Aronson? But
it's going to be a triple change for Leeds.
Yeah, he's all right. Maybe it was a double, and then this Aronson injuries increased it.
Yeah, maybe. It's like Dan James is going to go off as well. Again, he'd been rusty. I think he worked dead hard, but we can all work hard, can't we? Anyway. Yeah, Gnonto comes on. Sean Longstaff is the other one coming on. Anyway, yeah, changes. I think they're needed, and it looks like Mecha is the other one. So Tanaka, Aronson, James. Yeah, I sort of get that, but that's like saying his system's working though. He's going like for like, really.
Well, we'll see. It could be that Nonto's moving into, maybe it's a front 3. We'll wait and see. It doesn't look like it's going to be at the minute. I think you're right. I think they'll stick with what they were doing, particularly looking at Nonto there. Look, basically playing right back, isn't he? So, yeah, on the hour triple change, but not a change of formation from Leeds.
No, that which is weird, isn't it? I do. I understand why he's taking Tanaka off, and Tanaka, we touched upon it, but I don't think he's given his all today, because I think he's thinking about World Cup. I would leave him out of the game at West Ham as well for that reason. They've got plenty, including Longstaff, who can be happy to play that position and give his all. He's no agenda, as he won't be going to the World Cup. Sean Longstaff, who's had probably a disappointing season, I think, Sean Longstaff.
I was expecting him to be on the team sheet, John, to be honest, this afternoon. Given the context of the game, I thought maybe he'd play instead of Stack, just to give him some more minutes, not particularly because he's better than Anton Stack, but just to, I think he's been good off the bench in the last few weeks. He hit the bar last week, didn't he? We could have had the winner against Spurs. He scored a brilliant goal a couple of weeks ago as well, Sean Longstaff, off the bench. So yeah, I don't think he's played particularly poorly, but he's just not been first choice, and in that sense I guess it has been disappointing for him. Yeah,
it's right. He found himself in the same boat that he was Newcastle. There in that rigid 4-3-3 Newcastle, you're not going to get in. What ahead of Bruno Guimaraes or Tonali? Don't think so. He's no Joel Linton either. That's something else that brought to the party. But he was always a good understudy. But the same for Leeds. He's done a decent job, and he's one of the reasons why Leeds have been able to get to a good position. Players like him and Justin have come in, and Justin particularly play a number of different positions pretty well. As Gnonto there looked like he'd scraped it off Yankuba Minter. There could be a good battle between those two. And Gnonto just rolled the ball back to his keeper. Gnonto's another one, isn't he? I mean, he's still just a young lad, really. He's 22, and you feel that he could still be patient. He might be getting frustrated, but that he's not starting. An Italian international. That was a while ago, but how old is he?
He's 22, yeah. He was the youngest scorer for Italy, wasn't he, at the time when he did get that goal?
The ball given away by Brighton, high up the field here. Metcher out with his feet. Stack watches it roll to Gnonto. Gnonto with a strike, and that had gone just wide. Did it? Was it a save for Bruggen diving? Some of the hands went up there. Gnonto working his way backwards, just realises. Baleba just slipped there at the vital moment and gave the ball away, didn't he? And Leeds a half chance.
Yeah, and so too did Gnonto when he pulled the trigger there, John. I think his left foot, his standing foot just gave way as he went to go hit that. Didn't quite get the contact that he wanted, but it's a bit of a warning shot from Leeds, who've not really been in this second half.
Yeah, but it was off the back of a mistake, wasn't it? Again, it's not something they've created themselves. The Stack now goes down. Oh dear, something hurt. And caught by Carlos Baleba. So a game of stops and starts. Also on the bench today for Leeds, Byram, Chadwick, Cresswell, Perry, Lainu, and Piru. So, but Stack there looks to be in a bit of pain. I didn't see what happened to him, but he just really looks like he's in a spot of bother, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, we're sort of sounding like a broken record, John, but he's another, isn't he, that we'll be hoping for a spot on the plane in the summer with Germany. He's in the squad for the most recent international break. He only played off the bench in one game, played about 12 minutes or so for Germany, but you never know, he could be in the squad and anything could happen once he's in the World Cup in North America. So hopefully he's okay. Looks like Brighton are going to ready some changes. One of them's a familiar face.
Yep. Changes about to be made as Jorginho Ruter will go back to his former stamping ground. Danny Welbeck goes off, who's played well, typically. He played quite deep, but so too does Ruter, and they don't necessarily need a proper 9, do they? The other player coming on is Diego Gomez for Veltman, who I thought he might be playing right back today. I think they've chopped and changed with that, because Karagioglu's found himself forward. I think they've been quite fluid about who defends and who goes forward, probably because they haven't had much defending to do. But Diego Gomez comes on.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see Maxim de Kuyfer drop a little bit further back now, John. Potentially. One thing we didn't mention, by the way, now that he's gone off, Danny Welbeck, his 200th appearance for Brighton this afternoon. 51 goals during that time as well. It's not bad going, I don't think. One every.
No, I think to some degree he'd been written off. It's like, oh well, he'd been at Man United, he'd been at Arsenal, he's on his way down, and that'll be the end of him. He'll just peter away. He certainly hasn't, or he's injury prone. Well, he's played plenty enough games, and he just reminds you that he's just a good, clever player, and he always has been, Yeah, he's got a few more miles on the clock, but he's played well. He's still down Stack, by the way, still having that little bit of treatment. Milner was on the bench as well, who passed a milestone this season, didn't he? So an interesting season for him. You know, most Premier League appearances and all that.
Signed a new contract, did he, as well? Is he staying on for another year?
I don't know. I think it would make sense. If you had Milner at the back end of his career and he's settled and all that, you'd want to get him involved in the coaching. You know, he's just a natural for that.
Like Seamus Coleman at Everton.
Yeah.
He just signed a coaching deal as well.
One of these guys, you know, when you understand what he brings to the party, you know, he's a teetotaler, he's a dedicated trainer, he's always got the best out of himself, without any side, without any attitude. And also, he's good fun to be around by all accounts. You want that at your club, don't you? So, well, if Brighton didn't, there'd be lots of clubs queuing up to get James Milner, who, well, ball around the back here. Karioglu's a cut back, and then the shot comes in. But in the end, swinging Diego Gomez. His first touch there could have been a goal, but it wasn't.
Yeah, some real power behind that from Gomez. If that's on target, I don't think any goalkeeper's stopping it. It would have been a goal, but it is off target. Flies into that stand behind Carl Darlow. It's a good ball in initially, and a really good cutback actually from Karioglu. Got to give him his flowers, John. We've criticised him a few times in this game. He puts it into a really nice area. Maybe it's just because he's fresh, Gomez. He's new. He's not had a touch. He's not settled in yet. Maybe that's why he sort of gets that wrong, rushes it a little bit.
Well, again, ball coming from his right, and he's trying it right-footed. I'd have been amazed if that was on target, let alone anywhere near the goal. Just almost impossible thing to do. He had time to control it. Leeds try to get round the back now with Rodon. Minter there sticks with him and put the ball out. Minter's hurt himself. This game's going to be never-ending, isn't it?
Well, good thing is, John, we're not going to use that cliche again. Gambia aren't in the World Cup, so there's no concern there for Minter.
I'd be faintly concerned, though. I'm sure Mrs. Minter's not thinking he'd be all right. He from a funny angle there, you know, he felt it afterwards, didn't he? It was like a delayed reaction, the pain to him.
It was sort of like he landed on his hip and then Rodon landed on his other hip. So he's sort of, I can imagine that's quite painful. You've got the quite bony areas of the body anyway, aren't they? So to get sort of crushed between both your hips, he's down here. He's not comfortable.
No, but ultimately it doesn't matter because he's not going to World Cup. So, but it does, of course. And you know, just as well, we're coming to the back end of the season. Hurtsler looking on, thinking, well, you know. I find at this end of the season, it's a bit of a cliche, but you get that Wembley cramp thing, don't you? Players have really got to the bottom of it, and then there's not much of a break, and they have to go again for the World Cup. It's less than a month, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, even less than that, John, because they're playing friendlies as well. Of course, usually they do they do those, don't they? Sort of during the season as a way of goodbye. Actually doing them before the World Cup starts. Well,
usually by now I would have handed over to Tom, but I get the feeling that this second half and added time is going to be somewhere approaching 7 or 8 minutes as it stands. So we'll cover this corner kick and then we'll hand over. It's not been a great game this at all. Minter's walked off but at least he's walking off, feeling the small of his back. As the ball comes off the back of Justin there. But what's he claiming? He's got his arms out there. Are they? Leeds seem to be asking for something, but I'm not entirely aware what it is. He nods it.
They're asking for handball for the third time actually, John, in the game. They've showed us a really slowed down replay of the ball hitting the arm. I don't think on any of them were actually handball.
They take a corner kick anyway, and then the ball nodded back in by Longstaff, not being cleared away. Bornau just released it back in, but the ball will break. Stack, who is now fine. Just the wrong side of Baleba, who's done so well to hold him off there. It took him an age to foul him, but I think he did. Anyway, we are at 70 minutes, so we're probably about 3/4 of the way through the game. You're listening to Independent Off-Tube Studio Commentary. It is Leeds United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, and it's going to be Tom to take us through now to full time.
Cheers, John. Yeah. Elsewhere, by the way, just to bring you up to speed, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2, Everton 1, Sunderland 1, and Wolves 1, Fulham 1 as well. Equaliser for Fulham coming just before half time. Penalty from Anthony Robinson. Sunderland also equalised. That was Ryan Brobby just before the hour as Brighton come forwards at Ellen Road in this one. Cross towards Gomez. Gomez touches it away from Justin, opens up towards the far side. Can't be brought under control there initially, and then Belabor picks up the scraps as the referee's actually blown his whistle for something. Is Maxim de Kuyfer? No, it's not. It's because Anton Stack's still down, or he's gone down again rather, which is really unfortunate. He was obviously hoping to play on. There's a real look of dejection on the face of the German, who, again, as we say, yes, we sound like a broken record, but he'd be hoping to be at the World Cup with Germany, and hopefully he is okay to do exactly that, but he isn't going to be risked here. Anton Stack is going to come off, and on comes Joel Pirout, who we mentioned Sean Longstaff and Dan James in terms of players who maybe haven't featured as much and haven't had much of an impact as they were hoping for. Joel Pirout still searching for that first Premier League goal.
Well, I think there was all the talk about him moving on at the end of last season, and he said, look, I didn't come here, I played the Championship and I want to give it a go in the Premier League, but he just hadn't had a run, and you do just get that feeling that it's a step too far for him, whether that's true or not. I mean, I think I can imagine Pirout scoring a load of goals if he was at Man City or at Arsenal. Any team that were dominant, he's a finisher, and if he can find space and hang around the box, and he'd score a rake of goals. But unfortunately, what he doesn't bring to the party is much of anything else. No great pace about him or physicality. He's not particularly great in the air, is he? He's a good player. But I think we all know that it's the Championship. If you could be a dominant Championship side, then maybe he's the man for you. But anyway, Stack looks like he's going off on a stretcher. That's something you don't want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good at any time in the season, is it, to see that stretcher being wheeled out? But Anton Stack could be really unhappy with this one. 73 minutes on the clock. Leeds 0, Brighton 0, and some rather glum-looking face as well at Ellen Road. Not because the game has been poor, which it has, and not because Leeds are getting relegated, because they're not. But I think they're really feeling for Anton Stack here. They understand the context, and that's not something that you want to see. Is it the player covering his face now as well as he gets applauded off Ellen Road via a stretcher?
Yeah, I mean, he's played his part this season. What does Anton Stack bring to the party? Well, he can pot shot. So you've got that man. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily play that well, but then he pings one in from 30 yards, and you think, oh, all right, well, that'll do. Clearly, he delivers a decent corner kick in, and Leeds have scored plenty off corners. That, you think, well, whoever takes the corners, they're going to score. Not necessarily. There'd been a sort of dearth of that kind of player. Anyway, there's some blood on his sock.
Yeah, he does. He's got a bit of blood as well, hasn't he? I don't think that is the issue. But on comes Joel Pirout, who's recently become an international as well, a Suriname international. They had a qualifying game in an attempt to reach the World Cup, which unfortunately they failed to prevail over. But he did get his first international call-up. Played all game actually against Bolivia. Forward come Brighton down the right-hand side, across the face of goal. Rutter trying to squeak it in, but Kabil, I think, got the last touch, did he?
Well, they're not making their way for a corner, so they work their way around the back. Then Gross taking up a great position. Rutter slides in. He's round the back of his man. It comes off his shin. Again, it's very difficult to get that right for Rutter. He's sliding in, giving it a go, but he couldn't quite do it. He was in a Leeds team that went down, of course, and I do seem to remember the last game of the season where he threw his shirt into the crowd, and the crowd threw it back. So But I think eventually the Leeds fans came to understand and enjoy the quality that Rutter's got, and then it was another one of those that Leeds had to sell because of financial problems, really.
Yeah, but hoping he doesn't come back to bite them this afternoon. 76 minutes on the clock. Leeds 0, Brighton 0. the only Premier League game so far today without a goal in. At Ellen Road, listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio based commentary. I say we're on 76 minutes. We've probably had close to double digits in terms of time away from the ball being in play due to various injuries and ailments. Unless that one for Anton Stack. Here's Sean Longstaff forward to Calvert-Lewin. This is better from Leeds around the corner to Metcher. Haven't mentioned him since he came off the bench. Pokes it back to Calvert-Lewin. And Metcher once again. Here's Joel Piroux, just wide of the post. I thought for all the world we were going to see that first Premier League goal for Joel Piroux. Just wide and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it rolled to him quite nicely. All a bit scrapey, and then a nice ball. He's an ace away from getting that first goal. Left foot curling, trying to get into the top corner, didn't curl enough. Might have beaten Verbruggen, although he was giving it a good attempt, wasn't he, the Dutch goalkeeper? But again, Brighton on the ball. Yeah, Brighton have been the better team by quite a margin, but we're still 0-0.
Still 0-0. Here come the Seagulls though, left-hand side with Gross round the corner to De Kuyper, down the line now. And then back to Gross, cuts in on his right, opens things up. Closely marked though by Joel Piroux. That means that Carlos Baleba has to take over. Now Dunk to Minter on the far side, cuts back in. Brighton keeping the ball well, 13 minutes of normal time remaining. Van Hecker to Gross again, just pulling the strings. Towards the edge of the area now for Minter, around the corner to Baleba. Pocket picked by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now Leeds look to break. He only got Metcher in front of him. Has to poke it into a wide area. Not necessarily one where Metcher would have wanted the ball, but he's got it now on the final third. Left-hand side, approaching the byline. Left-footed ball into the area. That's blocked away though by Van Hecker. Metcher battles for it against Kadioglu. The latter's done well actually to flick it away. Jorginho Rutter then just tries to make something down the right-hand side, takes a touch off Longstaff and out for a Brighton throw. They never really looked like they were going to cause a problem there, Leeds.
Well, Metcher, when he's running sort of inside left or left wing, if you like, nobody goes short for him. There's no Anderson on the field, so you don't have that player who can help the side develop. You've got two players running vaguely out the far side who are well marked. I don't know how he's supposed to get the ball or who he's supposed to pass to, but I think it's a feature of what Brighton have been able to do because they've dominated the game. Brighton are playing the game that they expect to play, the game from the halfway line. Their style has won out today, and Leeds have not been able to do anything with them. So that it's more like, well, we've got the ball, chance for a break from defending. Here come Brighton again with the Gomez at the edge of the area. They just seem to always have a spare player.
Baleba to Gross. Gross chops back onto his right, then ball into the area towards the back post. It's punched away by Darlow. I think you recognise as he rose there, the Welsh international, that he needed to punch it away from the action and out for a throw as opposed to keeping the ball in.
He could never have caught that, so right thing to do, but here come Brighton again.
Yeah, Rutter, corner of the box, shot away. It's saved though by Darlow, just through the legs of the defender. It's well watched by Darlow, and it remains Leeds 0, Brighton 0.
Well, never say never and all that, but Brighton have been, demonstrably the better team. They would deserve a victory. I'm not handing it to them on a plate, but for instance, they've had 66% of the ball. They've had 14 efforts, 5 on target. Their XG is 2.15. Leeds is 0.36, and somehow it's 0-0. And sometimes sport's not fair. But Brighton are playing like Brighton, and I don't know who the lads in white are, but they're not doing anything today.
This side in yellow back in possession though. Here's Dunk, 10 minutes to go before half-time. It's a raking crossfield ball from Dunk towards this near right. It's over the heads though of Gomez and Justin, out for a Leeds throw on this left-hand side.
It's all right thinking that Leeds are, three with wing backs, but when you consider that the wing backs are not the first choice wing backs, I think that's such a specialist position, but without Bogle and Goodmanson, can Leeds really make it work? I think the answer is no. They're not offering anything, so they can't get on the front foot. They haven't got players who prepared to make that gamble. The likes of Bogle, definitely he sort of gambles a lot going forward, and it gets him on the front foot. But Justin, I don't think it's his proclivity to get that far forward. Here come Brighton again, another shot. again, it's on target. Inchwood is just dabbing at the ball. He can't get much on it, and it's an easy save. But Brighton will deserve to win if they manage to get a winner here.
Yeah, very similar move that one from Brighton to the goal in the early kick-off.
He might have been offside there with that cross, Pascal Gross, but it didn't matter in the end. The shot wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah, it's across the face of goal, as I say, much like a couple of goals actually in the early kick-off between Manchester United and Nottingham Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White's goal for Forest was very similar to that move there from Brighton, albeit the result not the same in terms of it finding the back of the net. 9 minutes to go in normal time. We're going to see some changes here for Brighton. Albion Hertzler rolling the dice as the travelling Seagulls fans are in full voice for the replacement of Carlos Baleba. Off he goes. It's Ayari who's coming on to replace him. Jack Hinchelwood, who just had that effort to White. That's his last action of the game as well. He's going to come off. On comes Kostulas for him. So Ayari and Kostulas on for Baleba and Hinchelwood, and that'll just give them a little bit extra, John. Not that they really need it.
I've been slightly disappointed with Hinchelwood today, in the same way that you're disappointed when your striker doesn't score, because he's really not brought anything else to it. I think Kostulas could have come on a bit sooner for me, but anyway, we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, Minter continues to do well. Brighton, as a whole, continue to do well. You do get that sense that back-endish here, Leeds are hanging on.
Brighton in possession once again. Dunk across to Van Hecke inside enemy territory. The sun still shining at Ellen Roads. It's resulting in a rather large shadow being cast on this near side, covering about a third of the pitch from bottom to top as Brighton continue to dominate possession here. Van Hecke moving away from Calvert-Lewin. Tries the ball over towards the far side. It was missed there by Piru, but picked up by Nonto, who intercepts. He tries to play it forward. His pass is deflected. It comes back then in possession of Brighton. Minter nods it past Joe Rodon, who nearly brings the Gambia international down. Referee waves play on as it's taken over by Kostulas, who tries to get a ball in. Takes a deflection from Yacobil and out for a Brighton corner.
Yeah, Seagulls very much on top. They have dominated the game all the way throughout. Leeds haven't had a 10-minute spell. They've been the boss of this game. And like I said, they look like they're playing on vapours at the minute. On memory, this is the kind of form that would have seen him get relegated, I feel. But they've played well this season. They've got themselves in a good position. The game's not over yet, but they've got a corner to deal with now.
In-swinger from Gross towards a penalty spot away though from Beale. Referee's blown his whistle. James Justin's down inside the area. That'll be a Leeds free kick. 84 minutes on the clock, still goalless at Ellen Road. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent studio-based commentary. Elsewhere, just very briefly, Sunderland were behind against Everton at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, but the Black Cats have turned it around. The latest from Enzo Lefebvre to give them the lead. As Leeds prepare for this free kick, Aldala will of course take it inside his area. Just getting a view of that goal actually at the Hill Dickinson Stadium from Enzo Lefebvre. I said jokingly to our colleague who's a Newcastle fan, John, that Nathan, I said, well, at least Newcastle can still finish above Sunderland. That's at least something that they can play for. Maybe not now if Sunderland get all 3 points. Ball towards the right-hand side for Ayari, just over his head though, as it's flicked away by Beale. Rutter battling for it, wins a free kick.
I think for me, Sunderland made such a good start, and it's like, and then they had so many players going to AFCON, and it really derailed their mid-part of the season. And then it's like settle back in and remind everybody that they're a decent team. They spent a lot of money, but spent it wisely, didn't they? And they have got a decent team and a lot to build on for next season. But absolutely interesting. Anyway, Brighton, as it stands, they could do with a win here, take themselves above Bournemouth in the table.
Free kick, Gross into the area towards goal, on target, saved though by Darlow. It was Kostulas, who's just come off the bench. His header, he did well, I think, to rise in a crowded penalty area. Couldn't direct that into the corner. It was much too easy for Carl Darlow, who has been busy but he hasn't really been forced into much in this second half. 2 brilliant saves in the first, though.
No, and when he was beaten, it was Ampadu, wasn't it? Able to head that ball off the line. That was their best opportunity, I feel. Danny Welbeck's shot. But the thing is, they just haven't finished off. XG tells you that they should have done better. You know, as just in there, just thumps the long ball up. Leeds have been woeful today, haven't they? The fans, I'm sure, would be disappointed. But not one effort on target. There's only one save needed to be made, and that was from Brighton messing about at the back.
Yeah, it was reported it was a bit of a party atmosphere in the opening minutes of the first half at Ellen Road, John. But I can imagine that the party's almost over now, because you can celebrate being safe from relegation for a little while. But 87 minutes without a shot on target, you're probably not going to be celebrating much longer.
No, exactly that. There's not enough beer in the stadium, is there, to salve that? But yeah, I mean that's it. It's not like short memories or anything. I'm sure the fans are delighted with Daniel Farke and all that. If they get another point today, it'll be great. But also frustrating on any given afternoon at Ellen Road. They expect to get a shot on target, don't they? They expect more than what they've seen today. Put it like that. Daniel Farke chewing his nails, plenty of thought. At least one man's enjoying it and trying to get everybody invested in it, and everybody around him. What are you on about, mate? Sit down.
As you say, though, John, for Brighton, still plenty to play for. I mean, coming into today, 7th in the Europa League positions. They'd need to win twice, and they'd need Liverpool to lose against Brentford next Sunday in the final game for your Champions League place. But if they win today and Brentford fail to win, which of course they currently are, then they would be guaranteed at least the Europa League. So still plenty on the line with 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining.
Well, what I find disappointing, it's at least could have been bested today, right? And all the stats say that they're second best. But the system's never changed. It's like it's just saying it's good enough. Well, we haven't conceded. Yeah, but we haven't had a shot on target. I don't think Leeds fans want that at all. A season where you're not going to concede many, but you never give it a go. At home, you've got to give it a go. You've got to play a more positive way. Here's the Ruta on the ball, an opportunity, and a shot comes in from Gomez, blocked by Beale. Wow, they're just hanging on, aren't they?
Yeah, they were giving it a go there, Brighton. 88 minutes have been played at Ellen Road. Leeds 0, Brighton 0. Another corner for the Seagulls, who are chasing that goal to break the deadlock in this one. Gomez again with an effort. Blocked away and out for a Brighton corner. Jakub Biel covering across. He's had a good game. The Slovenian international gets the applause from his fellow teammates as Brighton prepare this corner. It will be an in-swinger from the right-hand side. It's going to be a left-footed taker in Maxim de Kuiper. By the time in the air, left foot at the ball, high lofted towards a back stick. It's sent back across by Van Hecke. Last touch off a Leeds man, according to Michael Oliver. That'll be another Brighton corner.
Van Hecke claims the handball. Nobody's interested in that, really. Ethan Ampadu's looks at him. Really? Is that the story you're telling us? And maybe came off his shoulder. But let's take another look at it. His arm was getting pulled and maybe grazed the arm, but yeah, just another corner.
Yeah, Gross with the second in-swinger from the other side now towards the front post, away from Beale.
Van Hecke was unmarked at the far post then when that ball come in. You just think, well, what they're doing. They're so narrow in defending there, but you've got to pick up players like Van Hecke. So many times the ball goes long and they just nod it back across. So Leeds have not dealt with that at all. They're giving Barham a run out here. It's just a reminder and just to say thank you, I think, to him for hanging on in there and being a squad member this season. But with 90 minutes on the clock, Borna goes off and Barham comes on.
Yeah, well, that might be Sam Barham's final home appearance potentially for Leeds at Ellen Road. So on he comes and he gets the applause of almost everyone inside Ellen Road. A real servant to the club across 2 stints, but Brighton still playing. They're not interested in that particular storyline as the ball comes in towards the back post. Carl Darlow, though, is able to rise highest and clasp it out of the sky. He balls out quickly towards the right hand side to set potential counter-attack off for Leeds, but things are slowed down.
I tell you what made me laugh there, he signalled that Leeds are now 4 at the back. 90 minutes then. But there's 9 minutes left. We said there'd be quite a lot.
Yeah, the fourth officials just indicated a minimum of 9 minutes added on at the end of the game at Ellen Road. Still time for either to win this one. Still time for a Leeds shot on target. Here's Metcher, moves it infield to Longstaff, opens up to Nonto, tries to go around the corner to Metcher, and it was all very tight, and Brighton have comfortably won it back. Gomez with a flick round, that's brilliant from the Seagulls as they burst forward. Gomez then just shows too much of it to Rodon, who flicks it away from the South American. Now Rodon comes forward, ball through the line looking for Nemetcha. Can't bring it under control after a rather fortuitous deflection from Van Hecke, and Brighton are able to not just clear their lines but play the ball over towards Minter on the far side. And Caldalo's able to come off his line to collect it. And have the ball once again. Brighton have got an equaliser at home against Crystal Palace. Tara had scored to level earlier on in the game, and he's done so again with 2 minutes to go. What
a weapon that Coyote throw is. It's incredible, isn't it? Came off the back of that. I tell you what, immediately Leeds went to a 4, and I'm not making this up, but they look better. Anyway, can they get something going? All of a sudden then Justin gets on his bike and he's over the halfway line, then he's keeping somebody back and keeping them a bit more honest, but the Beale's giving the ball away there. I don't know what to do myself really about that, but quite why it's taken so long for them to do that, I don't know.
Brighton at the minute in 7th, 92.5 minutes played. Leeds 0, Brighton 0. Ball forward towards Calvert-Lewin, just mistimed that one as Longstaff has to help him up, but his header can't find Lucas Nemetcha. Over him, playing for a Brighton throw on this near side. Listen to off-tube independent studio-based commentary. There's going to be another change here, and it's a man we've not seen too much of this season, of course, due to injury, but Solly March is going to come on for the last few minutes of this one. Yankuba Minter is the man that he will replace, who, as he said, John, earlier, much more dangerous off that right-hand side. He's played the vast majority of the game on the left. He just hasn't quite looked like the same player.
Yeah, I think he's played well. He'd be amongst the candidates man of the match, Yankuba Minter, I think. But like you said, more natural playing the other side. I think either Vanek or Gross would be my idea of a man of the match. I think they both played pretty well. De Kuiper was man of the match last week, steady away today. I think, yeah, they've been on top. There's no doubt about it. I guess you could argue that Beale and Rodon have both been staunch at the back and had to do what they've had to do. And of course, their captain has headed one off the line, Ethan Ampadu. But I think the man of the match would have to come from one of the Brighton players who've just dominated the game, haven't they? They've been on top. So Van Acker or Gross for me.
We'll wait and see who the man of the match is, as Sunderland get a third to grab all 3 points away at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's Everton 1, Sunderland 3 now in that one. It's 2 apiece between Brentford and Crystal Palace. It's 1-1 between Wolves and Fulham. As we have about 5 minutes of the 9 added on left to play. Longstaff tries to poke it into the corner on the left-hand side. Flicked away though by Brighton. That's a good foot in though from Ampadu to keep it alive. Now here's Sam Byram infield to Joe Pirio, but Byram offside. So that will be a Brighton free kick. I think many are neutral, John, probably expecting or hoping that James Milner would come off the bench for Brighton this afternoon, potentially to play his last game at Ellen Road. We'll wait and see, but clearly Fabian Herzl not interested in things like that. He wants the best out of his side, and you can't blame him. Here's Kadioglu up to Pascal Gross inside opposition territory, goes backwards towards halfway for Van Hecke, fires it in towards Ayari. You can't bring it under control. Byram then tries to find Metcher down the line. Calvert-Lewin might get on the end of that, and he has. He's stolen it away from the goalkeeper, and it could be a goal here for Leeds, and it is. It's in the back of the net from absolutely nowhere. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the goal, and that is the work rate that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has in his locker to create a chance such as that. Steals away in front of the goalkeeper, and while Brighton might be going for a European place, but it's Leeds who have potentially taken all 3 points. It's Leeds United 1, Brighton 0.
Can I change my man of the match? Yeah. One mistake and Dominic Calvert-Lewin has had none of the ball, and he just gets it to once. Verbruggen comes and he just nicks it away from him, rounds him. He's still work to do. He's still under pressure at that point. He scrapes the ball away. Camera lingers on Jan-Paul Van Hecke, who's had a strong game, but the quarterback has fluffed his lines, and Calvert-Lewin was alive, wasn't he? We just take another look at it. Van Hecke looks, he doesn't look enough, and Calvert-Lewin just nicks into his back pass, and it's an easy goal.
It's a simple finish in the end, but it's the work rate that creates it. It's the mistake as well from Van Hecke that creates it. Verbruggen came off his line, thought he could get there in front of the former Everton striker, but it is Dominic Calvert-Lewin with his 14th Premier League goal of the season. Not since 2009 has a Leeds player scored more in a debut season. That was Luciano Becchio a long time ago.
Wow.
That was, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 14 to make it Leeds 1, Brighton 0. And the hosts potentially then with all 3 points. Still a few minutes to go though, 97 minutes on the clock now. As the game is back underway, ball over towards that left-hand side for Van Hecke, looking to make up for his mistake. Calvert-Lewin, by the way, took his shirt off in celebration there, so he's been booked. First yellow card of the game as well. The game's been played at a pretty good temperament, and there's some real energy now by the looks of it inside Ellen Road. The temperament and the temperature has just gone up.
Wow, well, out of nothing there. They deserved nothing. But you know what? They were staunch. They hung on in there. I guess I know that is important, isn't it? But they look back at it, and it's weird. This is the kind of game that, you know, where when they're in and around the bottom 3, would have got away from Leeds. Now they don't need it. It's like, oh, you know, oh yeah, we'll just throw you this 3 points seemingly. But here's an opportunity. The keeper cuts back. The shot comes in. Rodon blocks away this time. They're so stuffy today, aren't they, Leeds? They've got loads of blockers in. But the amount of cutbacks and what have you, and shots that have been blocked away, which just needed a little bit more finesse, a little bit more quality. Brighton could have won this game 4 times, couldn't they, really, with the amount of chances they've had. You know, how's your luck? Brighton dead unlucky today.
Yeah, they are behind. Leeds 1, Brighton 0, 98 on the clock, just 1 minute of the 9 remaining. We might just play a little bit longer than that, though, as Brighton have a throw down the left-hand side. It's into the area, heads go up, it's up from James Justin rather than out, then it's punted long by Sam Byram. A couple of players from either side give chase as Mecha brings it down, then Byram clears once more. He's been caught off the ball as he's swiped away. Referee not interested in that though, as the ball goes out for a Brighton throw.
Well, Leeds will be in 13th position in the table if the result stays as it is, so they be above Palace, be above Newcastle. But there's still work to do as Darlow comes where the muck and bullets are. He's into Rodon, who's hurt himself. Typical, he just gets up and he carries on. If this had been any of the team, Rodon would have gone down rolling around, and you know they'd have winded down the clock.
Yeah, I think we could run Joe Rodon over and he'd probably just get back up, John, and be absolutely fine. 99 minutes on the clock. Leeds 1, Brighton 0. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's late goal could be the winner at Ellen Road. Brilliant scenes. That goal went in. It not meant much in terms of where Leeds will finish, but something for the home fans to shout about in their final game in West Yorkshire this season. They of course face West Ham at London Stadium on the final day, and there could be a lot riding on that one. They play Newcastle in the late kickoff, but here come Brighton, right hand side for Costulas. Gomez into the area, last chance saloon potentially. There's Nonto just to flick it away, but only as far as Solly Marsh. His ball back into the area is a good one towards a back stick. Here's Gomez at the back post, tries to bring it down and can't. Leeds should be able to clear. Byram can do so now, and out for a Brighton throw on the right hand side. Is that the full-time whistle from Michael Oliver? It's it looked to be. I think he's actually playing his whistle for the throw-in to be taken instead. So they're still playing.
Well, when we get to 100, we know we've had a long game, don't we? 2 balls on the pitch, lots of messing about, but the referee has blown his whistle. Well, they maybe didn't deserve it, but the final scoreline at Ellen Road sees Leeds win. Leeds 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Thanks for joining us.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the